is sales. You got to be good at sales. If you're looking for a new relationship, you got to be good at sales. You got to get the deal done. Welcome to the Rachel and Drew Show. I'm Drew. Rachel is currently laid up in our guest room with the flu, y'all. She is super sick, so we're out here holding it down, creating the content in the studio, making a bunch of cool stuff for you guys. Just really kind of an update, like what's going on, challenges. We're doing a lot of restructuring in our companies, so I don't really have anything super laid out and planned on this particular podcast, but I do want to give you an insight to challenges, struggles, difficulties in building a $10 million company. Everything's got to expand on all levels, right? So a lot of the challenges that we have had, and I'm sure you have had as well in the pursuit of growth, is making sure that you got your systems and your processes dialed down. And it's just like, eye roll, I know. But we really want to look at this. And this is a lot of what I'm doing right now. Like, I'm rebuilding our acquisition team. So primarily for a long time, it's been me. So it's been doing a lot of the production, a lot of the conversations, working with the setters, doing the closing personally. Really, when I say closing, just having those conversations. Like, if you're a salon owner or a business owner, you're going to have a team. There's going to be conversations that you facilitate, but you want to be able to support them through the development. Otherwise, the sales won't happen. And business is sales. You got to be good at sales. If you're looking for a new relationship, you got to be good at sales. You got to get the deal done. You got to be able to influence people to want to be around you, to want to be a part of what you're doing, whether it is business or anything. So sales is really interesting to me. I love being sold things. I love our program. I believe in our program and our mastermind, everything me and Rachel are doing. So it's very easy to sell. I just talk about what we're doing and offer a solution to people. But I can't do everything on my own, just like Rachel can't do everything on her own, and people of our team. So we're really expanding on process. A lot of times it is very easy to see the problem that is at hand in a company, and it is easy to point out the problem and be like, this person sucks, or that client sucks, or this new hire sucks. And really, do you have a people problem or do you have a process problem? And the process is, you really need a checklist of a step-by-step path for your team. Like, there needs to be a literal map with a checklist, like you're an airplane pilot, like that kind of, that level of organization, so that way you can replicate these types of things. You hear it all the time, McDonald's, like, you can get the same. We were in China. We don't eat fast food, but we had to, because we were starving, and the only thing in this airport that we could eat that wasn't like pork noodles was Burger King. So, like, shit, gotta eat Burger King. Got a Burger King burger, plain, but it tasted the exact same as the one we got. We had gotten something in like the Woodlands, because they got that dialed in. Like, the processes are dialed in. It's very specific, right? From the ordering to the inventory to the training of their managers. Like, these corporate structures really got this dialed in, and it's really important to take note of who's doing it well and how you can make it work in your company. So a lot of times we have these issues, and there's a lot what I'm working on now is restructuring the process, the path, and these pathways need to be updated. Rather, you're bringing on a new stylist, or rather, if you're a service-based business and you do roofs and you got a roof guy that goes around and gets deals, like, you got to train this person well. They are not going to know what you inherently know through your efforts. Like, you have a perspective, and it's almost too much perspective sometimes. So you really have to. I don't want to use the word dumb it down, but I'm going to say it, dumb it down, because you just need to make sure that you're developing these human beings from step by step, and you can do it with your time in the beginning, which a lot of people do. You see this a lot. You see a lot of this process is just done in person. Like, you show them exactly what they need to do in the order that they need to do it. But guess what? Now you and your time is the process. You don't have unlimited amounts of time. Money comes and goes. Like, you will make more money. You will spend more money. I can take a credit card. I can spend it. I can refill it. I can't do that with my time. Your time is important. So you have to make sure that you create processes around what you guys need done in your companies, right? And what that looks like is it's a checklist, like a step-by-step one. Like, you gotta map this thing out. Like, what do I need them to do? not philosophically, but what do I need them to do? How do I, like if you're teaching or training someone how to make a look in your salon, it needs to be a path. It needs to be a checklist. It needs to be a process. Otherwise, it's just your time. Or you're going to hire someone and use their time. This is usually how people get around working around the process. And it really just, a system is just, it'd be a document, right? With a step-by-step process on like a checklist. Again, referring to the airplane pilot analogy. They do that checklist every single time, no matter if they've been flying for 30 years, 40 years, is the first day. That checklist is the map. That is the holy grail of movement, of the actions that need to be taken. Your checklist needs to be laid out in actions, not ideas or anything outside of physical actions that you want them to take to get the job done. Like if I was going to make a system on how to do this podcast, it would be a step-by-step. What do I physically need to do? Plug in cam A, plug in cam B, connect the C ports to the dongle that goes into the laptop. Like there's specific things that would need to be written down. So if you don't have that in your business, maybe you have some work to do. If you do have that and you are running and you are coaching the individual through the workflow and you are leading them through this workflow and process that you made, because you always need to refer back to the process. If the process doesn't exist, you're just talking into space with a new person. And they're trying to do it, but they need that map. They need that checklist. They need that written out specifically. How do you check out someone at the front desk? You should have a checklist, step-by-step, instructional, up-to-date, current. These things need to be updated all the time, because if you get a new software, now that process is no good, right? This is a lot of what we're doing. So I'm doing this a ton with our ads, our acquisition team, our salespeople. I want to build a world-class sales organization. That is what I want to do. And we want to continue to build a world-class salon experience. These are things that I'm really focused on for 2025, and I'm excited about it, because once you get these processes down, sure, you might need to update them again, but it's done. It's one of those things where it's done, and it really just adds an element of structure to your workflow and your business to where you can actually scale it. If you don't have these things in place, you can't scale, because you're always going to get pulled back into what? Coaching someone through how to do something with your time. Or you're going to have to get a team member to do this with their time, and then you're going to have to use your time to follow up with this manager, because again, there's no process in place. You don't have to always make these processes. Your team can help you do this, but you need to understand it. You need to understand it to a finite detail. Something I talked about in SalonCon was how Elon Musk solves problems. And really, he's got these massive companies. He shows up, he finds the biggest leverage point, the biggest problem, and he goes in and he puts a ton of resource, time, money, and energy into solving that problem for that business. And then he moves on to the next company. He goes in there, finds the biggest source of where's the biggest problem in the business, and he solves that, and he moves on. So that is what he does. He did it with Pennsylvania when we were all the campaigning going on. He got involved. That's what he did. Pennsylvania was a key crucial state. So he went in, same thing, right? So it's important, whatever your political views are not, to understand high levels of performance and how it works. And we want to model success, because success leaves clues. There's breadcrumbs. We don't have to be creative or invent this new way of development, right? So I want to talk about process and like the first step that you need to do to get that going. What's the goal? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? What are you teaching? It's going to be a physical thing. Are you teaching? Are you creating an onboarding process? Are you creating a checkout process? Is this a sales process? Is this a process where you have your manager go through your KPIs? Like, you want to have that laid out for them specifically, and take a piece of a document on Google Docs, anywhere. Put what the process is at the top and start making your checklist. And I would just start laying it out. Like, if you're not going to get it right on the first time, make a first draft, and then walk through, test your process. Go through your own process. Does this make sense? Is everything that I need in here? Or do I need to make some modifications? Probably going to need to make some modifications, add something, remove something. There might be some redundancies in there, but go through. And if you just have a document, say you make 10 processes, right? Someone on our team is helping us do this right now, where we're going through and making new processes for everything. And it was great, because I had a question about a particular process, and she sent me the Loom as the walkthrough on how to do what I was questioning her how to do. So that process existed. I think it was we have a new system for sales and how we're tracking our notes. So I needed to know where to go to put the notes in about the call, right? So quick, it was like a 45-second loom with the description under it. And then it was bing, boom, boom, boom. It was like a 4-bullet process, super simple. But I got that and it was great. But now this process can also be used for other people. So when you make it, document down what you need. And I would start with the biggest things that, like, what is the most bang for your buck? Like, where can you invest the most attention that's going to convert into the most cash in your company? Build a process around that. This is really, really focused on humans doing things for the company. But again, these humans got to have the process. Now, if you have the process and then you have the human and you're running them through the process, but they're not getting the checklist done, and you can see like, hey, you're missing, you're here, you're not doing this, you're skipping these 3 processes. I need you to do this, 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 and this. And you've directed them back a few times. Now you have a people problem, right? Now it's on the person because you've ran them through the process that is updated, that's been thought out, that for certain is the path forward to get the job done, whatever part of your company that needs to be done, and they're just not doing it. Now you have a people problem, right? But most of the time, it's a process problem. Most of the time, it's a leadership problem because the leader hasn't been organized enough to lay out the process to help them move forward. I know I've been guilty of that. I think even you want to have a process for each thing, and the more dialed in you are, the better. Again, going back to the Burger King reference, they got processes for everything, every menu item, every invoice, every inventory, their tax stuff, their manager stuff, their COO stuff, their CEO stuff. Like, it's all dialed in at all levels, right? And that is how you start building. You really got to have these things dialed in to get to these bigger levels, these multi-million-dollar companies, 5 to 10 million. But I'm going to back up to if you're just trying to get to your first million. So after 3 to 5, these things really, really become important, and they really become the crux or the linchpin in your ability to grow the business, which is why we're really focused on this now. But in the beginning, if you're trying to get to 1 million or even 3 million, you just got to get better at selling your stuff. You're just not as good at selling your stuff as you think you are, And I did this too. Like, I was my gyms, I would have so many sales interactions, and I thought I was great at sales, and I'd been doing it for 6 years, But once I started to really actually become a closer, like closing larger deals, $6K, $10K, $18,000 deals, $24,000 deals, $50,000, $100,000 deals I've closed. I wasn't good. I sucked, So what's interesting enough, I've closed $100,000 deals where it's $100,000 in one transaction, right? And I've closed $150 a month memberships, right? In regard to difficulty, they were similar in difficulty. Like with my time, with my energy, with my output, I just offered something more valuable for the $100,000 deal opposed to the $150 deal. $150 was a gym membership with a little bit of coaching. Cool. That's what some people are looking for, but that is always going to be what that is. Like, you can never be able to charge $100,000 for that. There's just not enough value. There's a particular buyer for that. So laying out this approach is crucial. Having this perspective is crucial. It's a lot easier to sell one $5,000 thing than it is to sell $5,001 things, right? That's really, really important to understand. And I didn't get that. One time I heard someone goes, I forget what it was, like podcast or YouTube or something somewhere. It's probably Hormozy. And someone asked him, what would you do to make $100,000? And he goes, I would sell something that's $100,000 and then I'd figure out what else to do with my year, And I thought that was stupid. When I heard that, it's like, that's a terrible advice. It's like, duh, but we got to dumb it down. And now that I have sold $100,000 deals personally, it makes sense. That's exactly what you do, So this is a really interesting insights, but wanting to help you guys understand kind of where we are and what we're doing and the challenges that we're having. And you really gotta, when you push your company, I've said this before, you're gonna squeeze everything. You're gonna squeeze your brain, your wallet, your relationships. Like if you want to do something remarkable, it ain't going to just land in your lap. Like everyone's waiting for this like opportunity to land in your lap. It doesn't work like that. Sometimes something just lands in your lap, but usually if something lands in your lap, it's usually like a relationship of some sort, a mutual friend with mutual goals, and you're able to help each other get to that goal. That is because if you're going to move money or grow money, you need another human, right? You can't move money with yourself or do deals with yourself. It's illegal. Self-dealing. Can't do it. So really like expanding our business really looks like expanding us as humans. So expanding our marriage, building a multi-million-dollar company with your spouse is hard, and you need to nurture that and pay attention to that because you're going to squeeze it, and me and Rachel do. Like we work really, really, really hard, like really hard. Like we're doing 7 days a week. We're on a rampage, y'all. Like we have a lot of things that we need to do and a lot of things that we need to get done. And oftentimes it's like, oh, let's not forget about our marriage. We gotta nurture this. And it's hard to pop out of the workflow problem solve mode that we're always in. Like we're always in, so our date nights are things like that. It's really great when we can get out of that grind and just go to dinner and just be together as husband and wife. But at the same time, we're really excited to get back to work. Like we love what we do. We love this stuff. So that's difficult, but manageable. If it's something that you put your focus on. Talking about the processes like before, like we got to get these processes developed, and is what we're doing. It's what I was doing. Brooks was out here doing some studio work. I was in the front office. I'm working on processes. I'm going through data. I'm laying out our new approaches to what we're doing. Not super exciting work, but this is crucial work to be able to be the base and the foundation, the leverage point to get us to this next deal. Because a $1 million company, so say you sell really great, you get good at selling your stuff, you're doing $1 million or $3 million, things got to change to get to 5 and 5 to 10. That's 5 to 10 is a whole other enterprise, whole other organization, and then you go to 10 to 20 and, being able to have conversations with guys that are doing 50 million, $100 million years, doing, I've just come across a guy they're doing like 3 million a month. Like that's bananas, but it's not without hardcore processes kind of thing. So we're just developing on all aspects. And I feel like every time we hit a goal, we hit all of our goals. But every time you hit a goal, for me, it's like I had a hard time last year because we hit so many goals. We laid this out, we set our goals up, and we hit so many of them. When you hit a goal, okay, cool. You get and I say this with humility and I say this humbly. I want to buy a really nice, $1 million home. Cool. I want to get the truck. I want to get this. You get your things, and you get your family going or whatever your goals are. You want to travel the world. You do that. You want to build a company to this level. You do that. And then you do it. And there's not this moment overnight where it's like a big party. It's like, woo, we hit the goal. Let's go. You kind of glaze over it. And you're like, oh shit, we did that. We did it. But you get so into the process because it's not about the goal. It's about the process of getting to the goal, And then when you hit the goal, you just do. It just comes, it happens through your efforts. But then you got to restructure and reset your target. So I had to go through in a bucket list, but we've checked off a lot on that in the last 4 years, like a lot. Like it's crazy. It's kind of like a whirlwind, but you joke around like, I want to travel the world. And then you travel the world and you're like, oh, and it takes about a week and a half to travel the world, So when you do it, a week and a half goes by. You're like, hot damn, we traveled the world. Okay. Now what? You have to you got to keep setting the bar. And, I could ride and just like stay here, but that's unfulfilling. I think humans are about, we want to progress. We want to grow. We want to be fulfilled. We want to move forward. I think the most fulfilled I was when we were in Guadalajara, when we were out there doing work. I really enjoyed doing that. It was labor, I had blisters all over my hands and I really enjoyed doing that. I enjoyed it on a different, not like I enjoy like a nice hotel. I enjoyed it differently. I was really able to connect with humans on a human level, which was really interesting. Also made me pissed off at my kids because you get these little girls with no roofs. They got tarp roofs. They're filthy. And they're trying to sell little gum, these little chiclet gums, to the Americans that are coming by. And I'm just like, I have pesos in here, give them to them. And then my daughter's writing me 3-page notes because she feels like she has too many chores, and she's like, I'd rather be homeless and then not have y'all work so much. I'm like, I get that. So I'm going to take her and we're going to stay in a tent for 7 days together. That's what I'm telling her. I'm going to get her some old raggedy clothes and we're going to go stay in a tent. Be like, hey, I'm with you. We're going to be homeless together for a week. And we're going to have to go beg for food. And we're going to do that.
This is going to be a great video, man.
That'd be great. So we're going to go really show what's up. We're going to go.
Nice documentary.
Yeah. We're going to go live in Guadalajara with no roof, so these kids are spoiled, man. There's a lot of people hurting out there. So, and that's what it's all about. Get your shit together so you can go help other people. That's what we're here for, I think. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Be well.